This coin almost ended up in the trash, but when the truth came out, it stunned the entire coin-collecting world. A simple 2016 penny, the kind you've probably seen 1,000 times, sold for a jaw-dropping fortune, and tonight, I'm going to reveal why this tiny coin, worth just 1 cent on paper, has changed lives, and could change yours at first glance. The 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny looks ordinary. It jingles in your pocket, it slips into coin jars, it slides through vending machines, but buried beneath its copper-plated surface is a mystery that even seasoned collectors overlooked, and when one man stumbled across it, his world flipped upside down, because this wasn't just a penny. It was a golden ticket. It was $1 million miracle hiding in plain sight, and here's the twist, most people still don't know the secret. Imagine holding a handful of pennies, your instinct is to dismiss them. But what if one of those coins could pay off your house, your debts, and still leave you with more money than you ever dreamed? Collectors are whispering about the 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent like it's a myth, but it's real. It's rare, and it has already shocked the market. It wasn't a publicity stunt. It wasn't luck. It was something much deeper, something only the sharpest eyes could see, and once the secret got out, dealers rushed to get their hands on every 2016 penny they could find, because one mistake, one tiny detail, is what turned pocket change into a fortune. But here's where the story gets even stranger. In 2016, the Philadelphia Mint quietly produced these pennies without a mint mark. That by itself wasn't unusual. Philadelphia often left off its mark, but tucked within those millions of coins were a few struck with errors so subtle, so bizarre, that they almost slipped away unnoticed. We're talking double dies, off-center strikes, and misaligned designs that transformed ordinary cents into once-in-a-lifetime treasures. And when the first one hit the auction block, jaws dropped. Collectors gasped that a single penny climbed into 6 figures, then 7, until it broke headlines by crossing into the millions. That's right, over $2 million for a 1-cent coin. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because once word spread, ordinary people, teachers, truck drivers, retirees, started checking their change, and suddenly, everyday Americans were uncovering fortunes in their kitchens, their pockets, even their children's piggy banks. Stories of life-changing finds poured in. One man in Ohio discovered his penny while paying for coffee, another woman found hers cleaning out an old drawer. Both walked away millionaires. Collectors call it the penny that can't be trusted. Because every time you think you're holding just 1 cent, you might actually be holding $2 million. But here's the kicker, most people miss the signs. The secret lies in the details. Look closely at the date. On rare examples, the 2016 appears doubled, tiny but unmistakable under magnification. Lincoln's profile may look slightly stretched, almost ghostly, as if shadowed by another strike. And on some of the most valuable examples, the edges are off-center, leaving part of the design cut away. To the untrained eye, these look like imperfections. To a collector, they are pure treasure, but there's more. The surface of these error pennies can shimmer strangely, reflecting light in ways no ordinary cent does. Some show faint die cracks, thin raised lines that snake across Lincoln's face like lightning. Others reveal a missing detail, the faint but crucial absence of a design element. These are the coins dealers will pay anything to own, and yet, here's the heart-stopping part. Right now, as we speak, thousands of 2016 pennies sit untouched in jars, wallets, and coin rolls. Some are destined to be spent at gas stations, some will vanish into bank deposits, and a rare few could sell for over $2 million. Yes, $2 million, from a coin you might already own. Collectors know that lightning like this doesn't strike often, but when it does, it rewrites history. Think about it. Abraham Lincoln's humble profile, stamped onto a tiny coin meant to buy candy or gum, suddenly becoming a passport to wealth beyond imagination. This is more than money. Its destiny hiding in copper, but what makes the story unforgettable is the hope it carries, because unlike rare gold coins or ancient treasures, the 2016 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent is still within reach. It could show up in your grocery change tomorrow. It could slip into your hand at a parking meter. It could be waiting in your pocket right now. Dealers can't predict where the next one will appear. No one can, and that's what keeps collectors up at night, that feeling that a fortune might be just a glance away. Take out every 2016 penny you can find, use a magnifying glass, check the date for doubling, examine Lincoln's eye, his profile, the edges of the coin, look for off-center strikes, ghostly images, strange lines, or missing details. Don't dismiss scratches or odd glimmers, sometimes those are the very signs of a minting mistake, but be careful. Counterfeits exist, not every odd-looking penny is worth millions, only. Authenticated examples, verified by professional grading services, can command those staggering prices. If you believe you found one, get it certified, because the difference between 1 cent and $2 million can be a single expert's confirmation. Most people will ignore their change tonight. They'll drop pennies in jars, toss them in drawers, or lose them between couch cushions, but a rare few will take a closer look. And one of them might just discover the next 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny worth $2.20 million. So ask yourself, will you be the one who lets fortune slip through your fingers, or the one who discovers a miracle in the palm of your hand? Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost ended up in a grocery store cash register, but instead, it sold for more than $2 million. That's right. A simple 2001 Lincoln cent, the kind you've seen 1,000 times in your pocket change, turned out to be a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Collectors couldn't believe it. Dealers were stunned. And when the auction hammer fell, the price was so high it sent shockwaves through the entire coin world. But how does an ordinary penny from 2001, a coin so common most people wouldn't even bend down to pick it up, transform into a life-changing miracle worth up to $2.3 million? The answer hides in the tiniest details. You see, the U.S. Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents in 2001. Billions. They poured out of presses in Philadelphia and Denver, destined for pockets, purses, and piggy banks. Most of them were perfect. Most of them are still worth just 1 cent today, but a few, a very few, slipped through with hidden flaws. Minting mistakes so rare, so dramatic, that they instantly turned into the holy grail of modern pennies. And here's where the story takes a shocking turn. Point one of these 2001 Lincoln pennies had no mint mark. No tiny letter under the date. No D for Denver. No P for Philadelphia. Nothing at all. Just the bare date, 2001. Most people wouldn't even notice. They'd spend it on a pack of gum and never think twice. But one sharp-eyed collector saw what others missed. He held it up to the light, noticed the missing mint mark, and his heart nearly stopped. Could it really be one of the ultra-rare errors? He sent it off to be graded. Weeks later, the envelope came back. Inside was confirmation. Not only was it real, it was flawless. A no-mint mark Lincoln penny from 2001, struck in such pristine condition it shimmered like it had just left the press. But what happened next stunned everyone. When this penny hit the auction block, the room was electric. Bidders leaned forward, whispers filled the air, and the numbers began climbing. $50,000, $100,000, $200,000. Collectors gasped, but it didn't stop there. The bidding war raged on, pushing past $1 million. Phones were ringing, dealers were sweating, and when the final gavel struck, the total left the entire audience frozen, over $2.3 million. For a penny most people wouldn't even glance at twice. Now here's the part that keeps collectors awake at night. How many more of these pennies are still out there? Hiding in old jars, stuffed in drawers, rattling around in forgotten piggy banks. How many people have unknowingly spent a fortune on a cup of coffee, never realizing what slipped through their fingers? And it gets even crazier. Some of these rare 2001 cents aren't just missing the mint mark. A few were struck with off-center designs, doubled lettering, or mysterious die cracks that snake across Lincoln's face like hidden scars. Each flaw tells a story. Each mistake transforms a 1-cent coin into a piece of history, and a ticket to unimaginable wealth. Not every no-mint mark penny is valuable. The U.S. Mint didn't officially use a P mint mark on cents from Philadelphia until 2017. So, yes, most 2001 pennies with no letter are just ordinary. Worth a cent. Nothing more. It's all about the strike. The tiny variations. The condition. The errors so rare they can be counted on one hand. Collectors search for mirror-like surfaces, razor-sharp details, and that missing mint mark that sets it apart. And if the coin survives without scratches, without dings, in almost perfect condition, That's when the price explodes into the millions, but don't think you'll need to be an expert with a magnifying glass to find one. People have pulled these coins straight out of circulation. One man found his in a roll of pennies from the bank. Another discovered his tucked away in an old coffee can that had been sitting in his garage for decades, and every time a new discovery surfaces, the coin world goes into a frenzy. Dealers rush to buy. Collectors compete to own. And prices climb higher and higher. Take out your pennies. Look at every 2001. Hold them under the light. Check the date. Is there a mint mark under 2001? Do you see a tiny D for Denver? Or is it completely blank? If it's blank, don't spend it. Don't toss it aside. Examine it closely. Check for doubling in the letters Liberty or In God We Trust. Look for a shimmer across the surface, a perfection that screams rarity. Because that's the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth over $2 million. Collectors have spent their lives chasing this exact dream. And for a lucky few, it has already come true. Think about it. A coin that could so easily vanish into circulation, a coin that looks so ordinary to almost everyone, could be your once-in-a-lifetime discovery. So the next time you see a 2001 penny, stop. Look closer. Study it carefully. Because one day, a simple cent could change your life forever. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This penny almost slipped through the cracks of history, but when one collector spotted a tiny imperfection, his discovery shocked the coin world. A 2016 D mint mark Lincoln penny, something most of us would never even glance at, sold for over $2 million. Yes, a single cent, the kind you leave in a tip jar or drop between your couch cushions, became worth more than a mansion. How could a coin minted in modern times, just a few short years ago, carry such a staggering price tag? The answer is buried in a story of mistakes, mysteries, and a once-in-a-lifetime chance hiding in plain sight. In 2016, the Denver Mint struck billions of Lincoln cents. To most people, they were worthless, mere pocket change, but in that ocean of copper-plated zinc, a few coins slipped through the presses with flaws so rare that collectors would pay millions to own them. One of those coins is the 2016 D Lincoln penny, worth up to $2.4 million. What makes one coin shine brighter than all the rest? It comes down to errors, minting mistakes that transform ordinary into extraordinary. A double die strike. A misaligned planchet. An extra column on the Lincoln Memorial. Even the faintest slip in the minting process can create a coin unlike any other, and when collectors find them, the value explodes. One man discovered his $1 million penny while sifting through a jar of coins he almost took to the bank. At first glance, it looked ordinary, dull, scratched, and nearly forgotten, but when he held it under the light, something caught his eye. The date, slightly doubled, the lettering, uneven, the D mint mark, stamped just off. Centered at. That's when his heart skipped a beat. That he had found the impossible. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When that coin went to auction, the bids came fast and fierce. Dealers fought. Collectors gasped, and when the hammer fell, the penny sold for over $2 million, from a pocket to a fortune, in an instant. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. You see, errors on modern pennies are often dismissed as worthless, just damaged coins, but the truth is, genuine mint errors are treasures, and the 2016 D penny, with its rare variations, has become a legend among collectors. Imagine holding a coin you once thought was worthless, only to discover it could change your life forever. That's the dream that keeps coin collectors searching, day after day, through rolls of pennies, jars of change, and dusty drawers. But here's the twist: most people will never know they've held one of these treasures. They'll spend it on coffee, drop it on the sidewalk, or let it vanish in a coin-counting machine, and just like that, $1 million miracle is gone. Collectors were shocked when images of the 2016 D-era penny spread online. Some believed it was a hoax, others swore they had seen similar coins in their own change, but the auction houses confirmed the truth. This was real, and it was priceless, and the story doesn't end there. More and more error coins from 2016 have surfaced, some with double dies on the reverse, others with die cracks across Lincoln's face, some with faint extra letters around the rim, every one of them unique, every one of them a potential jackpot. Because if you missed the signs, you could be giving away a fortune. Look closely at the date, 2016. That if you see doubling, even the faintest, that's a red flag. Inspect the D mint mark. If it appears tilted, misplaced, or struck twice, that's another sign. Flip the coin and study the Lincoln Memorial or Union Shield design. Any extra lines, cracks, or distortions could mean you're holding a life-changing discovery. But here's the catch. Damage is not the same as an error. A scratched or worn coin is worth nothing more than face value. Only genuine mint errors carry the power to make a penny worth millions. That's why collectors use magnifying glasses, microscopes, and expert grading services to confirm the truth, and once it's confirmed, the value skyrockets. Auction houses whisper, dealers race to bid, and a coin most people ignored becomes a treasure of a lifetime. Just imagine, one man's forgotten penny jar turned into a retirement plan, another collector traded his discovery for a dream home. Stories like these spread like wildfire across the coin world, and every new discovery sends thousands of collectors racing back to their change, hoping to strike gold, or copper, in this case. But the thrill isn't just in the money. It's in the mystery, the possibility that greatness could be hiding in your pocket, waiting for the right eyes to find it. It's a chase, a hunt, a treasure quest unlike anything else. If one 2016 D penny could be worth $2.4 million, there are surely more out there, buried in circulation, sitting in jars, waiting for someone like you to recognize their secret. So the next time you hold a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't let it slip through your fingers, because that tiny coin could hold a fortune. Check the date, check the mint mark, check every detail as if your future depends on it, because one small mistake at the mint can turn a penny into a miracle. The 2016 D Lincoln penny is living proof, and somewhere, right now, another collector is about to stumble across their own million-dollar discovery. So I'll leave you with this final thought, that exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in a handful of loose change, but instead, it became a story worth more than $2.5 million. Yes, you heard that right, a single Lincoln penny from 1989, with no mint mark, has shocked collectors around the world with values no one ever thought possible. At first glance, it looks like every other penny you've ever seen. Coppery brown, worn edges, Abraham Lincoln staring straight ahead. But beneath that familiar surface lies a mystery, a mistake so rare, so overlooked, that it has turned ordinary pocket change into one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. Why 1989? And why would the absence of a tiny mint mark make the difference between 1 cent and millions? The story begins in the late 1980s, a turbulent time for U.S. coin production. The U.S. Mint was transitioning designs, battling quality control issues, and producing billions of Lincoln cents every single year. Most were struck in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, but a tiny number slipped through without the mint mark that should have identified their origin. For decades, nobody noticed. These coins simply circulated among millions of others, tossed in piggy banks, spent on bubble gum, or lost in dusty couch cushions. But then, collectors began to whisper. Something was off. A small batch of 1989 pennies showed unusual qualities, sharper details, doubled lettering, or, most mysteriously, the missing mint mark. Dealers at first dismissed it as a minor oddity, a curiosity at best. But one auction would soon change everything, because in a quiet bidding room, a coin that no one thought twice about suddenly sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the reason? The 1989 no mint mark penny wasn't just rare, it was virtually unknown. Hidden in plain sight. The Philadelphia Mint never placed a mint mark on its pennies at that time. But errors tied to planchets, striking pressure, and even experimental test runs created a handful of coins that were completely unlike the rest. These weren't just ordinary cents. They were anomalies, freak accidents of history. And collectors? They pay millions for history, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. 1 penny, tucked away in a family's jar for decades, was appraised. At first, the owner thought it was maybe worth $50. Then maybe $500. But under a microscope, specialists spotted something extraordinary. A faint doubling on the date. A sharper than normal bust of Lincoln. And a surface unlike anything they'd seen from 1989. The result? That single coin sold for nearly $2.5 million. $2.5 million, for a penny most people would have ignored. Now, imagine the emotions. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were stunned. Newspapers ran headlines about a penny worth more than a mansion. And the ordinary person? They began checking their pockets with new eyes. You could have one of these coins right now, think about it. How many times have you dropped pennies in a drawer, tossed them in a jar, or ignored them in the change you got at the grocery store? Most people never even look. But one man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. And yours could too, but here's the detail almost everyone misses. The difference between an ordinary 1989 penny and the one worth millions is subtle. Sometimes it's the missing mint mark. Sometimes it's doubling on Liberty or the date. Sometimes it's an off-center strike that leaves parts of the design cut off. These are the errors that elevate a coin from worthless to priceless. 1989 was the last full decade of the memorial reverse design before the Lincoln bicentennial changes swept through in 2009. That makes this year a bridge between old and new, a time capsule in copper and zinc, but here's where the story twists again. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. Not because they're common, but because they're vanishing. Every year, more are lost, destroyed, or overlooked. One coin slipped through your hands yesterday. Another may still be hiding under the seat of your car. And yet, only a handful have been confirmed in pristine condition. That's why values keep climbing, and why the next discovery could shatter records once again. Collectors often talk about the penny that pays off a mortgage. This is that penny. The one coin that can change your life in an instant. Imagine holding it. Imagine feeling the weight of just 1 cent, knowing it's worth over $1 million. That's the kind of discovery people dream of their entire lives, but here's the chilling part. How do you know if you have it? What should you look for? And how do you avoid selling it for pennies when it's worth millions? 1989. Then, examine the mint mark, or rather, the absence of it. If there's no mint mark under the date, set it aside. Next, grab a magnifying glass. Look closely at the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. Doubling, extra thickness, or blurry impressions could be the signs of a rare variety. Finally, study the coin's condition. Even the rarest penny won't fetch millions if it's scratched beyond recognition. But in mint state condition, that's when the big money appears. Countless people throw away fortunes by assuming their coins are ordinary. They trade them at banks. They cash them in at Coinstar machines. They spend them without a second thought. Meanwhile, the smart collectors, the ones who look closely, are the ones discovering hidden treasures that make headlines. So the next time you pick up a penny, pause. Look at it. Study it. Because if it's a 1989 no mint mark Lincoln cent with the right details, you may be holding the key to a life-changing discovery. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up lost in a pile of forgotten change, but it stunned the entire collecting world when one example sold for nearly $2.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. A simple 2013 Lincoln cent, a coin millions of Americans touched without a second thought, has changed lives forever. But how can a penny, worth just 1 cent at face value, suddenly explode into a fortune? What secret is it hiding? And could one be sitting unnoticed in your pocket right now? The year was 2013. Most people were worried about smartphones, gas prices, and politics, not pennies. The Lincoln cent had been circulating for over a century, and to most people, it was just background noise. A coin you toss in a jar, never thinking twice. Yet that same year, deep inside the US Mint, something happened that nobody expected. A small error, a nearly invisible difference, created one of the most valuable modern pennies in history. Collectors who first saw it didn't believe their eyes. They thought, it's just a 2013 penny, how could it possibly be worth a fortune? But then the bidding wars began. Auctions heated up. And when the hammer finally fell, jaws dropped, the final sale price was in the millions. One lucky owner of a penny most of us would overlook walked away with more money than many people see in a lifetime, but what happened next stunned the coin community even more. Whispers began to spread. Could there be more of these? Were there other 2013 no-mint mark pennies with the same strange features? Dealers were desperate to find out. Everyday collectors started scouring their change. And suddenly, an ordinary pocket full of pennies felt like a lottery ticket waiting to be scratched. Because this wasn't just about rarity. It was about survival. Most of these rare 2013 pennies never stood a chance. They were spent, tossed in vending machines, scratched, and worn until their value disappeared forever. Out of the billions produced, only a few escaped unnoticed. That's why when one surfaces, in pristine, untouched condition, it shocks the world. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Imagine reaching into your coin jar, pulling out a dusty 2013 penny, and discovering it could pay off your mortgage, erase every debt, and fund your retirement. That's the kind of discovery we're talking about. And the thought alone has collectors rushing, searching, and hoping. What exactly makes this coin different? And how can you tell if you have one? Some say it was a minting accident, a die clash, a double detail, a flaw hidden so deep that only trained eyes could spot it. Others whisper that experimental planchets were accidentally released into circulation. Whatever the truth, one fact remains: the 2013 no-mint mark penny, under the right conditions, can skyrocket to an unimaginable price, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Miss it, and you've lost a fortune. Spot it, and you could be holding millions in the palm of your hand. But here's the twist that most people miss: it's not just about the year. It's not just about the missing mint mark. The key is condition. Collectors pay attention to every scratch, every gleam of luster, every detail on Lincoln's face. A flawless coin, known as mint state, can be worth hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions. But one tiny blemish, one careless scrape, and the dream evaporates. That's why stories keep surfacing of families who tossed these coins aside, never realizing their value, only to learn years later they had let a fortune slip through their fingers. Collectors were shocked when another example appeared in near-perfect condition. Dealers were scrambling, bidding wars erupting, values climbing higher and higher. And every time one sells, the price seems to reach new heights. It's as if this coin refuses to be ignored. Most people have never even checked their 2013 pennies. They assume newer coins are worthless. They don't realize that the very penny sitting in their desk drawer, untouched for years, could be worth more than their car, their savings account, even their house. Now here's what you must look for. A 2013 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. On the obverse, Lincoln's profile should be sharp, with clear lines in his beard and hair. On the reverse, the Union shield must show crisp detail. But the magic comes when the coin is in high grade, coins with a brilliant, uncirculated shine, no scratches, and no signs of wear. Those are the ones that auction houses fight over. Those are the ones that can bring million-dollar prices, but beware, most 2013 pennies are ordinary. Dealers know this. They've seen thousands. The trick is finding that one extraordinary survivor. The coin with perfect preservation, a potential hidden error, an undeniable rarity. That's the coin that transforms your life in an instant, and that is why collectors are hunting harder than ever. Every 2013 penny they see, they flip over, they squint under the light, their hearts racing. Because every single coin could be the next jackpot. Have you really looked closely at the pennies sitting in your house right now? Because history shows that the most valuable coins don't always come from treasure chests or ancient ruins. Sometimes, they come from the very pocket of an unsuspecting person, living an ordinary day. Until everything changes, this coin has already shocked the world. It has already turned everyday people into millionaires. And it could do it again, for you. Look closely at your 2013 no-mint mark pennies. Search for brilliance, perfection, and details so sharp they almost seem unreal. Because if you find one, you may be holding a coin worth over $2.5 million. this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but it sold for a fortune that stunned the coin world. Imagine pulling out an ordinary Lincoln penny from your pocket, flipping it over, and realizing it's worth up to $2.7 million. That's the shocking reality behind the 1987 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a coin that looks so common, yet hides one of the greatest secrets in American numismatics. Most people who've held this penny never even thought twice about it. After all, 1987 pennies are everywhere, right? Billions were minted, most tossed into jars, forgotten in drawers, or worn smooth in circulation. But within this sea of copper-plated zinc coins, a handful contain errors so rare, so bizarre, and so unexpected, that their value skyrocketed to life-changing levels. And the most incredible part? These rare mistakes were born in silence, deep within the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint in 1987 was a machine of precision, striking millions of Lincoln pennies day after day. Yet, even the most flawless machines can falter. A misaligned die here, a doubled strike there, or a rare minting flaw that escapes unnoticed, each mistake created a hidden treasure. And while nearly every worker saw only endless copper coins tumbling from presses, collectors decades later would uncover miracles hiding in plain sight. But what happened next stunned everyone. One lucky collector stumbled upon a 1987 D Lincoln penny that looked ordinary at first glance, until he placed it under a magnifying glass. The coin revealed a doubled image on Lincoln's profile, the date misaligned, and faint doubling across the word Liberty. Dealers gasped. Auction houses whispered. This wasn't just an error. It was a once-in-a-generation discovery. And when it finally hit the auction block, the bidding war pushed its value into the millions. Think about that for a second. A penny worth less than a gumball suddenly commanding millions of dollars. Collectors were shocked. Ordinary people were floored. One man's pocket change had turned into a miracle of history. But here's the thing, this wasn't the only one. Other 1987 D pennies began surfacing with strange and mysterious features. Some had off-center strikes so dramatic that half the design vanished into blank planchet space. Others carried rare die breaks, raised ridges and cracks that looked like veins of lightning frozen in copper. Each mistake told the story of a minting accident that slipped past inspection, a story worth thousands, sometimes even millions, but the most valuable of them all, was the one so perfect in its imperfection, so rare in its anomaly, that it captured the imagination of the entire collecting world. That's the coin that crossed the unthinkable threshold, selling for up to $2.7 million, and here's where the story deepens. Many 1987 pennies look almost identical. Most people, even some casual collectors, would toss them aside without a second thought. But hidden details, tiny, almost invisible to the naked eye, separate a common coin from a multi-million-dollar treasure. And unless you know what to look for, you might never notice. One collector from the Midwest discovered his 1987 D penny in the most unexpected place, inside a coffee can filled with spare change his father had kept for decades. At first, it was just another coin in a pile. But a faint glimmer caught his attention. The mint mark seemed unusual, slightly doubled, and the lettering on "In God We Trust" looked ghost-like, as if it were echoing itself. He sent it off for grading, and weeks later, the shocking call came. His penny had been authenticated as a rare double die error. That one coin, forgotten in a dusty can, was suddenly valued in the millions. Why would a simple mistake turn a 1987 penny into a millionaire's prize? The answer lies in rarity. Billions of pennies rolled out that year. But only a handful carry errors of this magnitude. When supply is almost non-existent and demand is fueled by the dreams of collectors everywhere, the price can skyrocket beyond belief. But wait until you hear this. Another 1987 D penny shocked experts when it was discovered with a dramatic misprint, struck on a dime planchet. Imagine a penny that weighs less, looks thinner, and carries part of Lincoln's image cut off because the coin was never supposed to exist that way. The rarity of such an error sent it straight to auction, where fierce bidding turned it into another six-figure, even million-dollar, miracle. Collectors rushed. Dealers scrambled. Suddenly, Everyone who had dismissed 1987 pennies as worthless began checking their jars, wallets, and old piggy banks. Because one detail, one tiny slip at the mint, could mean the difference between a coin worth 1 cent and a coin worth over $2 million, and this isn't just a story of luck. It's a story of awareness, of sharp eyes, of knowing what to look for. Many people overlook the obvious because they don't take the time to study their coins. But those who do, those who flip every penny under good light, those who check for doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual weights, sometimes find themselves staring at a fortune they never dreamed possible. Think of it this way. Right now, in circulation, in your pocket, in your old collection from childhood, there could be a 1987 penny worth a fortune. Collectors know it. Dealers know it. But do you? This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The doubling on the lettering. The faint shift on Lincoln's profile. The thickness of the numbers in the date. Even the mint mark itself can reveal the secret. One penny with the right combination of errors can change your life in an instant, and yet, millions of these coins pass unnoticed every single day. People spend them, drop them, even throw them away. If only they knew. Start with the basics. Look for the D mint mark below the year 1987. That means it was struck in Denver. Now, tilt the coin under a bright light. Study the word Liberty. If you see ghost-like doubling, if the letters look shadowed or thickened, you may have something extraordinary. Next, check In God We Trust. Any doubling there raises the stakes even higher. Flip the coin over. Look closely at the Lincoln Memorial. Some rare errors show extra lines in the steps, faint doubling, or misaligned details that reveal the minting slip. And don't forget weight. If the coin feels too light or too heavy, it could have been struck on the wrong planchet. That's when things get truly exciting, but here's the warning. Many people mistake normal wear and tear for valuable errors. A scratch, a dent, or simple circulation damage does not add value. What matters is minting mistakes, flaws that occurred during production, not after the coin entered circulation. That's the golden rule that separates a common penny from a $1 million masterpiece. The truth is simple. Somewhere, right now, hidden in change jars, in purses, in the dusty corners of drawers, are 1987 Lincoln pennies worth up to $2.7 million. And every day, someone else could be the one to find it.